Call meeting order, 4:30. And start the Pledge of Allegiance. And moving on to item 3, roll call. Bob, you want to start us?
Bacon present.
Sergeant Chubby, present.
Fig present.
Was Allen present?
Keekwan present.
Coin present. Ours present.
Sweet present.
Moving on, item number 4, approval of the agenda.
We need to take official action to recognize we're going to delete item 9A.
Yep, with that correction.
Move to approve the agenda, removing item 9A.
Support.
Motion by Sweet, support by
Seconded.
Coin, I think.
Yep.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. The agenda is approved. Let's move on to item 5, approval of meeting minutes from November 21st.
Move to approve the minutes of November 21st as presented.
Support for that motion.
Got a motion by Zalid, support by Fig, to approve those meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same, and the minutes are approved. Let's move on to item number 6, correspondence. Annual evaluation of residential equivalent. What do you got there?
This is simply for your information. We share this every year. Every year, the Public Services Department reevaluates the billing rates for our water service, and those are based on residential equivalency units, and it's based on the usage over the prior year. So you'll see our rates that are going down a bit, or that those numbers of our REUs are going down a bit for our water system, irrigation system, and that's largely because of the system being unavailable for part of the year, I think. But nonetheless, for the coming year, the REUs have dropped. That should actually drop our overall cost a little bit as well.
Questions or comments on the subject matter? No, must be a good report. Okay, let's go on to item 7, public comment. Seeing nobody here, anybody online?
No.
Seeing no public present, we'll move on to agenda item number 8. Reports. Accounts payable.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
So let's go over your accounts payable for the month. We have for the East DDA, we have a payment to consumers for $629.33. And we have a MasterCard payment for $134.67. That was for a dry erase mock check. And then we have a payment to 21st Century Media, which is the Morning Sun, for a bid request ad for the snow plowing services. That was $77.72. A payment to Brenz Hendricks Insurance. This was for the property and liability insurance renewal. It's an annual renewal beginning November 1st. That amount is $2,646.74. And we have a payment to Black Electric.
Excuse me, what is the property? Which property is that?
That's to cover all of the infrastructure out on Pickard, which is like the street lights that are
Oh, okay,
insured
okay,
and
okay.
all of that.
All right, okay, street lighting, okay, yep,
Yep.
all right.
Probably get our money's worth there.
And then we have a payment to Black Electric to remove the Outreach banners for $630. A payment to Union Township. This is $17 for Yachts Drive, that property on Yachts Drive. It is tax exempt because the township owns it, but the $17 is for the county's recycling program. And then we have a payment to Hometown Decorations and Display for the holiday lighting along Pickard for the year. That is $10,800. A payment to MMI to do the grounds maintenance along Pickard, and the trash receptacle cleanup and all of that is $246. A payment to Pleasant Time Herb Farm for fall cleanup along Pickard. That's for $1,029. And then a payment to Price Mini Storage for $715. That's an annual payment for rental on the storage lease. So we have accounts payable totaling $16,925.46 for the East DDA. Are there any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the check register for the East EDA as presented.
Second?
Got a motion by Zaled, supported by Sweet, to approve the payables. Hearing no more questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And payables are approved.
Okay, moving on to the West DDA, we just had one payment to 21st Century Media, the Morning Sun. That was for the other half of the bid request ad for snow plowing services, $77.73.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the West DDA checking payables as presented.
I second it.
Motion by Fig, support by Chowdhury, to approve the West DDA payables. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And motion is approved.
Okay, moving on to the East DDA financial statements, your revenue and expenditure report. Everything's looking good. We're getting toward the end of the year, so most of the revenues are in. They're at about 100% of budget there. And then in the expenditure area for the East DDA, they're at about 80% of budget. And on the East DDA's balance sheet, the assets are a little over 2 million, and fund balance is looking like it'll be a little over 2 million. Are there any questions on the East DDA financials? Moving on to the West DDA financials, the revenue and expenditure report. Total revenues are at they're a little over 100% of budget. That's good. And the expenditure report is at about 55% of budget. And if you look at your balance sheet, there's about 1.2 million in assets and fund balance right now. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, Sherry?
Time goes by, was the sidewalk, that was last year? The sidewalk out here was so in 2022?
No, we just did.
But that was the boards,
Or they
the
finished
stuff out here.
No, from here to
Oh.
south.
Down to
That
Lux.
was 2 years ago.
Was it that long? Okay. Time goes by.
It does.
Oh, let's let the record show the financials were presented and filed. Also in your packet on 8C, there's the board member matrix for your review. And moving on to agenda item 9, new business.
Well, thank you. Unfortunately, as I said, Mr. Mitchell couldn't be here today, so we're trying to get that rescheduled. Did include on here as a discussion item our holiday lighting. The contract with our current provider is up this year, and so I wanted to get your feelings on how you would like to proceed going forward. We've worked with the same company for some time now. We've worked with them on making some upgrades to their fixtures they put up for us. We spent a little of our money to upgrade the plugs they use, so it minimized the challenges we're having with blowing fuses in the street lights. We've had a relatively good season. There have been a few lights that have gone out. Those Lock Electrics have been taking care of those. But essentially, I want to just bring to your attention that the contract is up. We can put it out for bid and invite our current provider to bid again, but also potentially to have other bidders. Or if you're comfortable with what you see, if you like what you see from this provider, then we could simply invite them to submit a new proposed contract that would come to you for your review and action. So before I talk to them, I wanted to talk to you and get your thoughts on your preference on how to proceed.
What's the annual cost? Is that the 10,000?
That is it, 10,800 right now.
So the policy of the township is if it's over X number of dollars, do you require bids, or is it just up to you?
It is something that we would, we're not required to go out to bid. We can simply work with our current provider. We have a contract with them. We can simply invite them to submit a new contract going forward, just as we would with any other contractor we work with on a regular basis. But we could, like I said, if you are not fully satisfied with what you see, or if you'd like to see what other options are available, we could take it out for bid and invite others to come in. I've gotten a couple of the companies that have contacted me. I have no idea their quality. I have no idea what they do. I've certainly seen in other communities various kinds of decorations around. Some of them I'm sure were provided by companies similar to this. I've seen this company's work in one other community, and it was very clear it was their work. So I guess that said something about them. It was recognizable. But from a staff perspective, they've been good to work with. They're very prompt in responding to issues. So yeah, from that perspective, they're certainly, we're happy to continue to work with them. But so I just want to see your perspective. What do you think of the lights? What do you think of what we've been doing? And see if you would like to see bids from a number of companies for the coming year or not.
How do they provide, we rent the lights from them basically is how the agreement works.
It said, yeah, they are their fixtures, yes, but they put, the 10,800 pays for their services to both maintain the fixtures and to
Yep.
put them up. They are the same fixtures we get every year because we put money into those outlets.
Okay,
We
right.
get the same fixtures back every year.
Right, okay, so, I would assume if we like what's up right now, that they're just gonna continue to maintain and replace, you know, as they go bad, but that's what the $10,000 is, to take them, put them up, take them down, and then make sure they're working during the season.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we don't, and did you ask, we don't actually own them either?
No, I think they're the companies, that's why I heard you say.
That's correct, yes.
We put in some extra money for like the outlets, the electrical outlets
To
to
help
plug into,
To connect, yeah.
which you would for anybody, so.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they look nice. You know, I guess I don't have any reason, you know, I don't think I'm gonna entertain a 20 or 30% increase in service fee, but I would not be opposed to renewing, you know, having them at least give us a proposal to, and if it's within reason.
I don't have any problem with it either. I think the key is, if they're responding to yours, if something goes wrong,
Yep.
they're handling, I think that's the most you can.
Oh, yeah,
ask.
exactly, rather than rolling the dice for maybe some potential savings. But they're already there, I mean, you know, they've already purchased them, so someone
Yeah.
else has gotta go through the expense of furnishing the whole, you know, display, so. I can see what, I would say, my vote would be for just have them give us a proposal and bring it to the board.
How many years have those decorations been up, and do they store them, or do we store them?
They store them. Yeah, they take care of it beginning to end from that perspective.
So look like that's their part, they have.
How many years have they-
pictures and
Yeah.
everything.
Amy, do you recall?
We have been working with the same company since I've been at the township, and that's been 7 years, so
Okay.
longer than that.
Yeah.
Not the same fixtures, because since I've taken that over, we've changed the fixtures, but
Okay.
the same company at least, probably 7 or 8 years.
Those have been newer now for, what, about 3 or 4
This last
seasons?
contract, these
7
these
years.
fixtures were newer.
Yeah.
Okay.
This last one. And that was about 3 years, or?
Right.
This
3
is
years.
the end of the third year of the
How
contract.
would you have the opportunity to change the fixtures then each contract is kind of how that worked, or?
She sends,
Go
she
ahead.
sends me the information, and Rodney and I last time sat down with her and had a
Okay.
conversation and decided what we thought looked nice and
Good.
went with that.
All right. Thank you.
I'm okay with just what Jim said, renewing. I just remember prior to 7 years ago, this was a nightmare. So this is smooth, renewing these the way we're doing it.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like there's a general consensus to invite these folks to put a new proposal together. As I said, that will be coming to you. If you do find that you prefer to go out to bid, you can make that decision at any time. So, and we'll certainly make them aware that this is a direction of proceeding. Well, you can expect to see that proposal. Certainly, I would expect the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on to item 10, pending business. Anything there, Rodney?
No, nothing today.
Item 11, director comments.
A few items on my list. One, you have an updated calendar for 2024 on the table. The only change is to the annual joint meeting of all of our boards and commissions. The Board of Trustees at their meeting in December made a change to that. It's now set for, instead of the first Wednesday in April, it's now set for the third Wednesday in April. I think it's the 17th, if I recall.
That's right.
Yep, it'd be at 6 o'clock. So if you would make that note on your calendars. And, well, everyone is encouraged to come. It is a very worthwhile meeting. It's a good opportunity for you to let the elected officials know what your priorities are, but also to hear what's going on with the other boards, like our Planning Commission and of course, the Board of Trustees. It's been a good discussion, and definitely worth the time. So If you would, make sure to note that.
That's 6 p.m.?
I believe 6 p.m. That might, do we have, I don't think we have the place yet on that. I think, no. So the place is to be determined, usually is either at the Commission on Aging or Jameson Hall, but we'll certainly get that word out as soon as that's finalized. A couple of other items. I did learn after some effort and finally talking to the contractors doing the work for DTE Gas out on Pickard Road that they are not going to be tearing up our sidewalks. The sections of their main in the township are actually were already replaced some time ago, and so they are coming up to the township border. And you see them out there right now doing that, but they will not be coming into the township. So happy about that.
Yeah, right.
I'd heard exactly the opposite from them. But the other item is I met on Monday morning with the representatives from USIC, which is the company that does the markings for MISTIG, marking the utilities. We went over our streetlight system. They came out with the equipment and checked, and they were very able to very easily find the wiring with their equipment. And they've checked both the new system and the old system, and we're very happy with what we found. So I'm expecting to receive a service agreement from them shortly. That will not be coming to you. The rates are such that can be approved administratively by township manager. So when that does come in, we'll get that signed, and we'll get that moving so we can get those systems marked through MISTIG. We're also working with MISTIG on that side of it. So I expect that all that will be coming together shortly. But as I said, they were very happy with the testing they did, and found the wire to be easy to locate, which means it'll be easy for them to mark.
Do you have an idea what their annual fee is, or?
They
Is it
actually
by
charge
ticket, or?
charge per visit, and
Okay.
the numbers.
I mean, ballpark, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000.
Oh no! Well, as I said, it was per time
Yeah.
they mark. So they want to know how many times
Yeah.
we thought they would mark. But I apologize. I don't remember the number. But I will make sure you have it for
Yeah,
next week.
and I'm not looking, obviously, it's, it's an estimate, but I'd be curious, just order of magnitude, is it a couple $1,000s or $10,000? I assume it isn't. It's way, way cheaper than having John's crew do it.
Right. I'll make sure you have that for as soon as I get it from them. I'll make sure it gets in your packet, and so you have it for reference. I don't recall the numbers right.
Yeah.
So, that is all I have at the moment. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't know what they're called, or is it, the mercury lights at intersections. So not as an intersection light or lighting, or but as winter has set in, I noticed at Broomfield and Lincoln there's no light, and then at Independence Drive there's no light, and there's a lot of businesses down Independence Drive now, and that intersection really comes up on you. So I didn't know if that's something that we could do or request from consumers, or who's responsible for that. But I was kind of surprised that Broomfield and Lincoln didn't have one at the new intersection. I thought it had it before.
Well, it had a blinking light before.
Ah, yes.
And so, and I was kind of surprised that, like I said, there's nothing there right now. So
Right.
I'd be curious just to see
And
what,
then, I think Jeff's right, before the blinking light, there was a street light.
yeah. I might have
So
been
it just-
too.
Yeah.
And there's
I
nothing
noticed-
there now.
Independence
I remember
I
the
go
June
into work
one.
that way, and it does sneak up on you, and I didn't notice
Yep.
it all summer, but now I do, and then I continue to drive down, and I'm like, oh, there's no light down at Broomfield and Lincoln, so.
I'd just be curious what, whether you have to request consumers, or how that works, whether you pay,
Right.
how that works with streetlight. I
Right.
think consumers usually puts it up for a fee, and then you just pay X dollars or something.
Right, certain amount for operating. And I believe so, yes. I'll check into that and get treatment.
And Jeff makes a good point. That was decades that's been up. For decades, it was a street light way before the flashing light. So,
Yeah, but I know that the light at Remus and Lincoln was out for many years. There's consumers light there. And with some effort and some pushing, we got that light replaced. They didn't really want to, but they did. So well, check in on those. Those are definitely good additions. And we've had similar concerns about Broomfield and Lincoln. It's a great intersection, but yes, it's much darker now than it was before.
Right.
And so I will talk to consumers and people can get back to you and let you know where we are.
Are there any updates on sidewalk installation that's going on, or?
We have engineer work going on for sidewalks over in the East DDA district that were part of your budget that you approved. Basically, the intent is to have them out for bid early in the new year, January. That's, as far as I'm aware, they're still on track for that. There's certainly a number of sidewalks going in around the community privately as well, but those East DDA ones are the ones we're working on right now for the township. There are some others budgeted that are not in, there are some others budgeted in the East DDA district along Isabella that we're also looking at. One of the things we did was we have applied for a grant. It's a Reconnecting Communities grant. It's a federal grant to do the engineering work for sidewalks that would include some of that East DDA work, Isabella and Broadway, and actually connecting, the idea of engineering something to connect over the freeway, over 127 on Broadway, and then east to Mid-Michigan College and Somerton. So that we have that grant in, application in right now, that we should get an answer back on that early in the new year as to whether that we'll have that grant. If we do, that certainly will expand the scope of the work over there. But without that grant, we're working on some engineering work along Isabella and, as said, East DDA over to Jameson Park, for example, to connect that in, and a couple of other areas over there.
So that, some of that grant money is, I mean, some of the EDA, or is it East DDA design work, or is the East DDA part of the engineering or the formula for how it's laid out? Or?
So the engineering work is basically laying out the plans, looking at where the rights of way are, whether we need easements, that sort of thing. So it's doing that planning work ahead of time to put plans
prepare
together.
for the grant?
Well, this case, it's for that work over by Jameson Park and the work along Isabella. Those stretches were already budgeted, and so those we will be moving ahead for construction. The idea of taking them out for bid early in the new year. Beyond that, as I said, we have the second level, which is this grant that we applied for earlier this year, the Reconnecting Communities grant, where we would be doing more sidewalks along Broadway, some of which are in the East DDA district, some are not, and then going over the freeway and on east to Mid-Michigan College. And also one thing I did mention was looking at going into the industrial park with sidewalks as well, trying to connect people to employment, that sort of thing. So that's what that grant was all about. That part, as I said, that's not budgeted for us, but if we receive the grant, then we would be able to expand to look at that and work on a much larger project.
So
Are they looking at like one of those, I don't know, when you hang the sidewalk over the outside of the bridge?
Well, that's certainly one
I
option.
mean, there's no shoulder there to,
Right.
you'd have to go outside of the existing.
I would almost guarantee it'll be a separate structure. Generally, structures like bridges are designed for what they are.
Yeah.
And
Sidewalks,
you know,
yeah.
even to put a pipeline on, like a water main on there, they get real jumpy. So
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if you've ever been up 75, or is it?
Or Hartford Pines
Yeah,
Park.
up by Hartwood Pines, they put a beautiful, I don't know how much money they spent on it, but they went went right across 2 lanes of the freeway, which is basically what we would do.
But it was a standalone bridge.
It's a standalone
Yeah, okay,
structure.
okay, huh.
Yeah. Similar,
That would
similar,
be expensive.
similar one down in Ann Arbor, US 23,
Okay, yeah.
Geddes Road, Washington,
Yeah.
there's one that was separate.
Yeah.
There's also one in
I mean, there's
Arbor
a
on-
need for it. I mean, that's a very, very dangerous stretch to walk.
Yeah.
There's one on,
Yeah.
in Arbor on, over I-94 at Liberty Street on the west side of Ann Arbor, where they did hang it off the bridge. It was a 2-lane bridge.
Yeah, yeah,
So it is possible, but
Yeah.
I agree, most likely it's gonna be.
most likely be separate.
That state.
I mean,
will
same out by the airport where you cross, like out by the Eagles, that is just the nerve wracking, as a pedestrian or bicyclist, that is,
Yes.
it's a bottleneck that's just terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe getting that, you can apply for state help for that?
Well, this was, as I said, this was a federal grant. It's just called Reconnecting Communities, this community fit well in the criteria, and so we decided to make the effort to put an application together.
Identify.
We're just waiting to hear back, which, like I said, we'll hear back sometime in the early new year.
Would the West DDA be able to apply for that same type of funding or grant?
So we have one section of sidewalk in the West EDA that I think is also in our engineer's hands, and that was the stretch from Merchandise Outlet at Bradley and Remus, going north to the middle school. It's kind of the missing link. And so we do have that stretch we're looking at. We have, you may have seen the work, Mr. McGurk, Chuck McGurk has done the prep work for installing the sidewalk around Dozer's Deli. It's not all of what he is supposed to do, but it is a good chunk of it. And we're continuing to have discussions with him on the rest of what he needs to install over there. But anyway, so there is some work going on in that area as well.
Sounds good.
Any more questions? I think we have a couple board members that want to take off, so if you do, make it short.
Yeah, nope.
I think we're good then. All right, let's call this adjourned, 5:02. We'll see everybody January 16th. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.